Hi, I'm Maria Fontanazza, editor of Food Safety Tech, and I'm here at the 2016 Food Safety Consortium with Zephyr Wilson, product marketing manager for Roka Bioscience. So, Zephyr, you gave a really interesting tech spotlight this morning about your the technology at Roka and sort of the benefits of it. And there were three kind of key takeaways that I wanted you to elaborate a little bit about on. One of them is building the right food safety culture. So can you talk a little bit about that in the context of environmental monitoring?
Yeah, sure. I think that the culture really starts with understanding your process. So you need to ask questions, like a lot of questions. You need to understand all of your processes. There are companies out there that have positivity metrics that could encourage the employee to prove the negative, and you really need to take an honest look at your metrics and make sure that you're encouraging your employees to go after and find that listeria. They want to find those positives. This is a good thing to find them. And then what do you do when you do find a positive? You need to identify the root source of it and really track down how it got there and prevent it from reoccurring.
And so what questions should companies be asking regarding sampling?
Well, sampling is more than just a result. You have to consider everything that goes into it. So you need to consider if you're using a swab collection device and a buffer that is optimized for the sanitizers that you're using in your facility. Also need to understand the test method that you're using. So not all tests are equal, and you need to make sure that you have a highly accurate test that is able to identify those positives and overcome any inhibition or biofilms, background flora that could be in your environment. The test method really is that lens to show you how good your sampling method is. And then lastly, if you don't know a lot about what happens when you collect your environmental samples, you might want to ask if they've ever confirmed your negatives. So I showed a slide in my presentation where there were a lot of false negatives, and you don't typically confirm what you don't see. So if you're curious about the performance of your current test method, I would say definitely evaluate if you are confirming those false negatives, evaluate if you might be missing some of the positives.
And one of your final points that I thought was really interesting, Roka talks a lot about playing FDA for a day. So can you talk a little bit about the steps that companies should be taking when they're undergoing self-auditing to understand the risks that they face?
Yeah, I think it's a really good exercise to do. Definitely do a self-audit. Be honest with yourself. Don't be afraid of what you might find. One of the things that I would recommend would be working with a food safety attorney so that you feel like you are able to find those results. As long as you're working under the direction of an attorney, the results are all confidential. And then, as I said, be sure that you're using the sponges, the buffers, the medias that are all optimized for your processes. And lastly, the test method really does matter. So you need to use the best, most highly accurate test method you can find. Typically a molecular test method like Roka Atlas detection assays would be a very good test method to use. It provides a very high resolution snapshot of what your facility looks like. And most importantly, this is going to give you the confidence that you are ready for when the FDA comes.
Great, well thank you so much for your insights.